nation and say he dealing with transparency and putting the harshest of penalties on people who dealing with your oil money. You know, it reminds me of the IFMAS program, which was acquired by the Ministry of Finance under Ashni Singh, the minister, and President Jagdeo at the time. That IFMAS program had 9 modules, 9 or 7 modules. They install all, including the one that records all the cash coming out the Ministry of Finance. You hear that?
Time is now moving on to 12 hours. We will continue with last evening's rebroadcast of the Glenn All Show right after your main newscast.
This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Good day. Welcome to your main newscast for Tuesday, January 4th, 2022. I'm Kevin Smith.
And I'm Amrita Kaushal.
This is what you need to know. How ex-President Ramotar and Robert Prasad enriched friends with the Guyana's Kanji oil block. AG report says free-for-all fuel system at Guyana Fire Service and private auditors to scrutinize CJIA, Guy Oil, and GEA's books. Coast Guard joins search for decapitated baby's head and 2 charged for Christmas Eve Day execution in Aboystown. Meanwhile, rape accused remanded for trying to kill arresting officer. Stay tuned to get the full details of these stories and more after the break.
Nothing in life is free, but the MyDigiCell app is. You don't need to be on a data plan to use the app. You can conveniently chat with Ruby or an agent for help. Check your account balance. Activate a Prime bundle or gift it to a friend. Send credit. Check the Georgetown and Burpees Bridge schedules. Activate a roaming plan. Play Shake to Win for cool prizes. So don't worry about a data plan, buddy. Download the MyDigiCell app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store today. Digicel, better together.
And now for the news in detail coming from CBC News. Donald Ramotar said he believes he helped transform the country through deals to extract billions of barrels of crude oil. Ramotar governed from 2011 until 2015, and in that time signed contracts with giants like ExxonMobil and Total. Amid the headhunt for black gold, JHI Associates, a newly registered Canadian company with no drilling equipment or local office, managed to acquire nearly 20% of the Kanji oil block, which is located 180 kilometers offshore. Now, JHI was registered in Guyana on May 4th, 2015, just 1 week before the election in which Ramotar's government was voted out of office. Ramotar insisted all proper procedures were followed in awarding the contract, and that the final decision was made by government technical experts, not himself or other politicians rather. But according to Clive Thomas, the former head of Guyana's government-backed anti-corruption body, SARA, these are highly irregular things. Thomas had been tasked with investigating the Kanji deal until his organization was disbanded and he was fired last year. Get the full details in today's Kaieteur News.
And we now tell you that the Auditor General's Office has noted in its report for the year 2020 that a free-for-all fuel system exists within the Guyana Fire Service. It was noted in the report for spending during the year 2020 that a total of $46 million was spent by the government that year to purchase fuel and lubricants for GFS. Additionally, there was no internal control procedure implemented by the fire service to avoid theft of its fuel stock by corrupt employees. According to the AG's report, this practice was prevalent at 3 fire stations in Guyana: the Rose Hall Fire Station located in Berbice, the Melanie Damishana on the east coast, and the Lagrange Fire Station on the west bank of Demerara. In fact, the report detailed that auditors counted at least 57 times where unauthorized signatures were used to approve the issuance of fuel at these 3 fire stations.
And more troubling news, a platoon of Coast Guard ranks is currently on a maritime search response operation in an attempt to locate the decapitated head of a 2 to 3 weeks old male baby. This was revealed by Region 4B Divisional Commander Sunarayan Mahendra, who added that there were no reports made about a missing child thus far, and no one has stepped forward to claim the child. The discovery was made by some individuals around 14 hours 15 on Friday last. Due to the state of decomposition, marks of violence, homicide detectives said, could not have been determined. It is unclear if the head was severed from the body by someone or persons, or if it was eaten off by fish or other sea creatures.
And we now tell you that the Auditor General's Office of Guyana is looking for chartered accountants to be recommended for engagements by that office, quote-unquote, to examine and audit the accounts of public corporations and other bodies. The office, in inviting the private chartered accounting firms, cited auditing the accounts for last year and the current year for 7 named government bodies. They include the Chedijagan International Airport, Gaioil, the Linden Electricity Company Incorporated, NCN, the Guyana Energy Agency, NARI, and the Institute of Applied Science and Technology. The books for Gaioil have been isolated to the current year, while others are slated for audits for last year.
And moving on. Over the past 5 days, local health authorities have recorded a spike in the number of new COVID-19 cases across the country. To be precise, a total of 909 new cases were recorded from December 29, 2021 to January 2nd. According to Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony, health officials started to see the change in cases after the busy festive season was coming to an end. The minister said that with the increasing numbers in new cases, he suspects that the Omicron variant is already in Guyana. The Omicron variant, which has over 30 mutations, was noted to be more transmissible than that of the Delta variant. Already it has reached Brazil and was detected in the Caribbean region. It was noted too that in order to test for the new variant, the country does not have the capacity to do so. Samples would have to be taken and sent abroad for testing.
Moving on, a 29-year-old laborer was yesterday remanded to prison for allegedly attempting to kill a member of a community policing group who was at the time attempting to arrest him on a statutory rape allegation. The defendant, Jamal Reagan Ford, called Sugar, of Phase 1B Wisrock Wismar Linden, appeared in the Linden Magistrates Court before Magistrate Wanda Fortune. Magistrate Fortune remanded him to prison, and the matter was adjourned to January 31st, 2022. According to the police, after the rape allegation was made against the defendant, a member of the CPG attempted to arrest him but was almost killed during the process.
And moving on. 2 men were on Monday remanded to prison for the alleged murder of martial arts sensei 36-year-old Garfield Newton, a bodyguard attached to Bihari Group of Companies. The accused, 25-year-old Darren Bailey of Parfit Harmony and 24-year-old Judah Vickery of Podrine Squatting Area, West Bank Demerara, made their first court appearance in the Georgetown Magistrates Court before Chief Magistrate Anne McLennan. The men were not required to plead to the indictable charge, which alleges that on December 24, 2021, at Campbell Street, Alboystown, they murdered Newton during the course or furtherance of a robbery.
And we now tell you that after months of supposed deliberations, there has been no agreement yet on the final 5 names of persons who will constitute the Public Procurement Commission, the body that exercises a major regulatory and oversight role in public procurement and the awarding of government contracts. The PPC has not been in place since October 2019. This despite a subcommittee of the PAC was established 6 months ago to deal with the shortlisting of names, but the government side is still to submit its final nominees from the shortlisted names. At the first meeting of the PAC for the year, Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, Jermaine Figuera, accused the government of stalling on the very important business of establishing the PPC.
And to wrap things up today, let's tell you that auditors were unable to account for a total of $741.3 million spent by the Ministry of Home Affairs during the year 2020 because of missing records. According to Auditor General Deodat Sharma's end-of-year report for 2020, the monies were reportedly spent for both current and capital expenditure, but the ministry failed to produce any financial records for the spending to be audited. The report stated that a total of 132 payment vouchers were not presented for an audit. Out of that quantity, 100 were said to be for current expenditure and reportedly totaled $12 million. That means that $12 million was supposedly spent on goods and services for the ministry that year that could not be accounted for. The time has now moved on to 12 hours 10. Before we go, let's head over to page 7 of the Kaieteur News. The alarming increase in COVID-19 cases should not come as a surprise. With the level of slackness seen during the past year, this was expected, and there are many within the medical fraternity who are worried that the situation will escalate in the coming days. We are convinced that our leaders do not care about the people of this nation as much as they do about growing the economy. Their actions have spoken louder than their words. Guyanese, with leaders of such ilk, we have no choice but to take responsibility for ourselves, otherwise our population will continue to dwindle until we all expire. As we all should know by now, COVID-19 is no respecter of one's vaccination status. We are all at risk. And with that, we've come to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith.
And I'm Amrita Koshal.
Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's Newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise